Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Inia Desnia show. Very happy to be here. Um, Here is where I actually help SMEs thrive. I share information, resources, just to, give um, tips to make SMEs thrive. And SMEs, people might ask, what is this? What is an SME? It's a small and medium-sized enterprise. Um, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for all those that have watched, who commented, complimented. Really appreciate that. I always like constructive criticism. Beautiful. I love it when people check and say, okay, you could do better here, do better there. I love that. Now let's get right into it. My tip or my topic or short tip today is how to handle IRS penalties or related penalties, right? How to handle that. What do you do when you get a notice and say, oh my goodness, I have a penalty, something is happening? Now I'm not talking about a notice that says that you have a certain amount of time to respond before that penalty is imposed. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that the penalty has been imposed and you don't know what to do, right? And of course, this platform is for informative and educative purposes only. Of course, it's very important for you to seek advice from a tax professional like myself. So if you don't have anybody working with you, please, go to my website and then Inia Desnia CPA, DrIniaDesnia.com. I have another website for my firm, but this connects you there. All right. So now, when you receive a notice, I always tell people, very important for you to work with a professional, very important because the professional, the CPA will know, okay, this is the way to go, right? And, it's not the end of the world when you receive that notice, right? Of course, the most important thing is to act immediately. Act immediately, right? You receive the notice from the IRS, you need to act immediately, all right? Now, oftentimes, right, people feel that, okay, there's no way out. You got a notice. And, for those that don't understand what I mean what I mean by penalty, right? I mean, of course, we know what it is in English, and I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to say you guys don't know what it means. But in this case, when it comes to IRS imposed penalty, right? So what happens that when you have a tax that is due or that you haven't paid, or you have some amount outstanding that is required for you to be paid, is required to be paid to the IRS, right? What IRS does is that they charge you a penalty. And there are several penalties. It could be penalty because you didn't file a return on time. It could be a penalty because you didn't pay, you didn't pay the actual amount. It could be a penalty related to accuracy or calculation. It could be all kinds of several kinds. There are several penalties, right? So any penalty you get or you see on a notice, right? The very first thing to look at it, of course, you look at the dates, right? Make sure that if they give you a time to respond to that notice, I can't say it, I can't snap my fingers enough. Many people have ignored notices and said, oh, you know what, I'll get to it. This is not, I'll get to it. This is not the I'll get to it thing. No. In fact, I tell people, attend to it and immediately, even though they give you maybe 30 days, 45 days to respond, don't wait for that 45 days because anything can happen. Respond immediately. All right. So that's the first thing. Know the date, respond immediately. And another thing that people don't know, or something else that some people don't know, is that you can actually ask for an abatement. What does an abatement mean? It means that, you know what, there's a reason why I didn't maybe perhaps file this return. There's a reason why I didn't pay this amount. There's a reason, right? And so it falls under what? Reasonable cause. Now, the issue with penalties, when IRS imposes a penalty, which is, so bad for the taxpayer, is that the penalty interest. First of all, there's an example. Let me give an example. Let's say you're owing, let's say $5,000, $10,000, even in taxes, or more than that. But let's just put it at 10,000, or maybe let's make it 5,000. Let's go down 5,000, right? And there's a penalty of maybe 800 or something like that, right? So you have 5,800 now that is due. What is the painful aspect of it is that apart from the 5,800 that is due, Interest is charged on that 5,800. Interest is charged on the amount that is owed and the penalty itself, right? Because this is how IRS sees it. He sees it as that, okay, you're owing me money, right? So holding my money, that's what they see IRS. I'm looking, say, just, I mean, I'm not talking on behalf of the IRS, but sometimes you have to make sense out of this. Why are they charging you interest? They say, okay, you are owing me this money and you haven't paid. So that means that, okay, I'm going to charge you interest because I'm still waiting for my money. But the issue is that they charge compound interest. And so somebody that has a $20,000 or $10,000 bill, before you know it gets to 40,000, just like that, because it just continues to build up. So that's why this is so huge. So again, there's a way that you can actually say, you know what, something happened, please waive that penalty. And this is a case-by-case basis. Of course, there are certain instances that there is no excuse. For example, right? Some people will say, "Oh, you know what? It's because I was depending on somebody to help me with my return, right?" But of course, there's a caveat there. There's another way you can explain it, right? And then say beyond that actual aspect, there are other ways you can explain it that could actually give you that abatement, right? But again, there are several ways. Yes, they might not, IRS might say, okay, because you relied on a tax professional, that's why it didn't work. That's why the IRS says, you know what, I am not able to waive that penalty. But there might be something, again, that one can look at and say, okay, apart from that, some aspects of my life that something happened, that's why I actually could not do this or do that or could not perform that should I say or could not do the necessary to avoid the penalty, right? So that's why I did not file my return. That's why I did not pay this. That's why that's why, of course, there's so many things, right? There are so many reasons that could be out there, right? Nobody's saying that you should fabricate any reason. That's not the purpose of this platform. One is not talking about tax evasion, which is a jail, you can go to a criminal offense. We're talking about tax avoidance, right? And in this case, penalties happen, right? So you can actually ask for an abatement, right? Of course, I mean, it's very important for you to work with a tax practitioner will say, okay, a CPA will say that, okay, let's put it together, because it's not just saying, oh, waive the penalty. No, there must be a reasonable cause, and then bringing everything together and presenting it to the IRS. So it's not like a lose-lose situation. Just wanted to tell you that. Make sure that, you're looking at, because things happen, right? It's very sad. I had a client, a couple of years back, and we're trying to, get things, and somebody referred her to me, and it's so sad that her daughter had cancer, and then her daughter passed away, and a couple of years she wasn't filing her taxes. Of course, filing her taxes is a very far thought, right? At the time that her daughter was a very far thought at the time her daughter was sick, right? So I mean, I had to put it together, write, and explain a very sad situation. So that was what, I mean, I put together for the IRS to see that this is not that she did it intentionally. Of course, the penalties had, accumulated there, but not that she did it intentionally, right? And your case might not be someone dying of cancer. It might not be like that, but there are so many instances that has happened in people's life that, could be anything that caused them not to do the needful. And it could be not only filing taxes, not only paying, it could be anything, it could be accuracy related issues that that you didn't maybe add some income here and there, and they found out. There could be a reason, valid reason, right? And that's why this is, again, for informative and educative purposes only. I can't say this is yes and this is no, that they will say yes or they'll say no, but these are instances that we've seen, right? That even in my practice, I've seen that even, putting it out there, explaining, I said, this is what happened, because, yeah, you have paying the taxes is fine. But when there's penalty charge and then there's interest compounding, not only on the taxes, on the penalty, you know what I'm talking about. And I mean, I know some people, they wonder how come the $10,000, $30,000, or $10,000, $5,000 bill is now $40,000. That's why it's important for you to attend to it immediately, right? Get that bill out of the way. is very important. But I just wanted to make sure we understand this. So to recap, when we get any letter, any tax-related penalty, first of all, look at the dates. That's number one, right? Second of all, look at how long you can respond. And thirdly, forget about, even after looking at how long, or how long, when I say how long is what the time, what is the time period, what is the deadline to respond? I don't focus on that so much, because you want to make sure that within 2 weeks of getting that document, you've responded, and it's out, sent out. So even before the 30 days, the 45 days is up, you've already done that, right? So it's very important. And then also think about first time penalty abatement. It's there for taxpayers to use, right? And if you have a reasonable cause, right, make sure you tell your tax practitioner, this is what happened. This is why I could not file, right? I mean, I'm of the opinion, or I always say that my policy is that the most they can say is no, right? But we do our best to make sure that we, ask questions, ask our clients question, right? And make sure that that we drag it, and, drag the answers from any, answer that, of course, is truthful, and put things together for them to make sure that, okay, IRS says, okay, this is the issue, this is what's going on, right? And then, making sure that they move towards that penalty abatement, right? As opposed to denying the penalty, right? Denying the penalty abatement. All right. So again, our goal, of course, is not to have penalties. Our goal is to do things on time, right? And just a word here as I close. Make sure that you're really, keeping up to date with what's happening with paying your taxes, what's happening with your business, right? Make sure that everything is done properly, because, a lot of people take things for granted, right? And at the end of the day, it's not about the tax practitioner, right? It's about you. If you don't do it well, that's ignorance is no excuse. That's the IRS will tell you that, no, it's your fault that you were not paying attention. All right. Okay, so I hope I've been able to share something today. Remember, this is for informative and educative purposes only. If you have any questions related to that, you want to meet me, or book a consultation, you can do that by navigating Dr. Niadesnya, www.drniadesnya.com. That's it there. I hope you can see that, and then it will lead you to my practice, my CPA firm's website. And of course, if you have any question, please send it there. I might be able to speak on one of those topics, one of the questions of one of my shows. All right. Thank you for being here. Of course, our goal is to help SMEs thrive. And of course, you have to be intentional for that to happen. Have a nice one. See you next time. Bye for now. And also wanted to put it out there, I might not be here next week. I have a program. So if I'm not here, I'll try, but I might not be here. If not, I'll see you the next time. All right. Take care.